there any correlation with, I know you said that, that red moon,
Mhm.
is there any correlations with that and cold fronts, or agnostic of the cold front? Like nothing has to change in the weather itself, only that moon has to change for them to get up and move, or are those 2 correlated? I'm not super versed on the moon stuff.
Well, the red moon, they're going to move. They're going to move on the red moon. Now, the hotter it is, the less they will, and the closer it'll be to dark. And but if you can if it hits, and it's funny, I've had it hit several times. When it hits with a little front come through and the temperature just drop, even if it's just a few degrees, humidity drops, maybe you do get a misty rainy. Oh my gosh, it's money if it correlates with a front moving through. They're going to move more than normal, even if it's warm, but it's still not going to be as good when if it's hot. If it's 85, I mean it's still better than the other days were without the red moon, and there's still a good chance he will move. If it's 65, you can just put money on it. It's just, I mean, it's going to be. It's happened so many times.
That's when you slide all your chips in. You're like, "All in."
I've called my shots a lot of times on those days, and my cameraman just go, "Man, what? How?" And I was like, "All the stars align. This buck's been showing up periodically." We had a buck it's been about 12 years ago here locally, and he survived EHD the year before. I had one buck the year before that got killed by EHD that would have been probably the new state record typical, and he died in that EHD. This buck, out of all the bucks I had on camera that year, this was the only mature buck that survived that year. And the next year we hadn't had anything on camera, and I was actually at Milk River hunting with Realtree, and my cameraman called and he said, "Dude, we got a big one at the such and such plot." And I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yes." And so I got home from my trip. It was hot in the 80s, and just so happened mid October, right on the red moon, we had a front move through, and it was just super overcast, misty, just a little like just a heavy fog, almost mist. And I called. I said, "We're going today. Today's the day." He lived close to me, and he's like, "You think so?" And I was like, "Yes, today is the day." And we got in the stand. We said that we didn't see. So another thing that really affects all these things that I'm talking about tremendously, especially here in Tennessee and in places where you have oaks, are the acorn crop. So that particular year, we had a big acorn crop. So we weren't getting pictures of deer in and around the food plots, which is kind of what's going on as we speak right now in Tennessee, also. And but what'll happen is those acorns are so acidic that the deer they'll gorge on them for 2 or 3 weeks, and it's like, man, we got to have some salad. It's like they will make an appearance at the food plot occasionally, because I personally, it's just been my own observation that after 2 or 3 weeks of gorging on acorns, they'll come to the food plot a little bit just to get something green. And sure enough, I mean, right before dark, it's getting late. I said, "There he is," and he pops out in the plot. The only deer we saw that afternoon is a 7.5-year-old, 160-inch Tennessee buck, and he walks right up there, and I smoked him, and he's like, "What? What? Why did you ever think we don't have a single daylight picture of that deer?" I said, "The red moon in this front. The timing was. I mean, this is what it is. We didn't see it. I mean, normally you can always go to that plot and see a doe and a fawn and a spike, or something. A year and a half old buck. Didn't see a single deer except for him."
That's
So,
wild.
yeah, so I mean, it's just happened. I could sit here and tell you 20 similar stories of that red moon where it's just been. And I've talked to Mark and Terry Drury about it through the years a lot, and they're the same way. It's just like we're always going to be. just like I tell people, like this Tennessee buck that I'm after, I haven't gotten a picture of him yet, and even if I don't get a picture of him, we got some two or three really good moon days here at the end of October around Halloween. I'm going to go hunt those 2 or 3 afternoons just on the chance that he's going to step out that evening, because I feel that strongly about that timing according to the moon.